we're dealing with the topic. At what point do you progress the relationship to the next level, and at what point do you cut a person off? And like I was stating earlier, with the conflictual dating climate, and nowadays men are treating us women like we're options, and you know it's true. You live in Atlanta just like I do, So I really want to know, and when I have these conversations, just a little bit about myself, first of all, guys. So I'm known as the Queen of Relationship Talk right here in Atlanta. I have the live events ministry, and so we now have the live podcast, Relationship Status. And so a part of the reasons why I like to host these events is because I have questions as well, as a single woman. And so this is really for the men tonight. So at what point do you progress? At what point do you decide? Well, first of all, who decides that the relationship is being progressed to the next level? Because a lot of times people say, just go with the flow. But going with the flow a lot of times means going at the man's pace, right? So us as women, we really don't get a say when it progressed to the next level. We kind of have to wait for you guys to decide, okay, I'm ready to take it to the next level. I'm ready for us to be exclusive. I'm ready to be in a committed relationship. So at what point do we, and is it a we, or is it the man who decides that we're going to take it to the next level?
Of course you get a say.
I do get a say?
Yeah, you get a say. You get to say if you're going to sit there and entertain that nonsense, or you're going to keep it moving. I mean, like, just because the man says he's not ready and he doesn't, let's go with the flow and all that,
yes.
Your choice is you stick with it or you keep it moving.
Okay.
And you, of course, you let him know your opposition to his going with the flow. You express how you feel. You don't attack him. You don't lash out. You do so in a calm and positive manner. But you don't have to roll with that. Like, and both sides can determine when things are progressing.
But how? How do we, as a woman who doesn't want to come across as being desperate or thirsty, or, nowadays they put a stigma on single women. Oh, she's thirsty, or why can't you learn to be alone? Oh, I can learn to be alone. I have learned to be alone. However, I do desire a healthy relationship. So, you don't want to be too pushy. You don't want to, you have communication, obviously, open line of communication with the person that you're dating. But how do we finesse the whole situation? But that is a word,
so y'all worried about the wrong thing. Worried about looking thirsty and desperate. Listen, you look thirsty and desperate to the men who don't want you in the first place.
Okay.
All right. So it's almost like when people call someone else needy, it's because they typically weren't that into you.
Okay.
So it's needy. But the next person they viewed as cute. Or better example, 10 dudes can hit up a woman's DM right now.
Okay.
If 9 of those dudes are men that she doesn't want, he's thirsty. These men are desperate, blah, blah, blah. Let the one dude be the guy she likes. He can say the exact same thing every other dude said. And it's, oh, that's so flattering. That's so nice. It changes your perception based off of your interest of them. So as a woman, don't be afraid of him viewing you that way, because if he does, that shows you he's not that serious about you. Also, it's only good when you're trying to move things along and you guys haven't even gotten to know each other. It's like, okay, if you're rushing to the finish line when you haven't done the foundational work to make sure if we even need to get to the next level, yes, you're being desperate. You're being fearful more than desperate. All right, because you're being scared that if I don't lock this down now, I won't have this later. That speaks to a lack of self-confidence and self-esteem. You know what I'm saying? But if you have that taken care of, and you know that you spend enough time getting to know each other, then yes, and that does not have a time limit on it. So
you took the thought right out of my head. So I was going to say, okay, I hear you talking about the foundational work and what it takes to get to that place. And you said, you need to determine if you're even going to go to the next level. So what does that foundational work look like, and what's the time span?
All right, so first in regards to time span is not based off of days, weeks, months, years. It's based off of quality time spent getting to know each other. Some people in 3 weeks know each other better than people know each other in 3 months.
Okay.
It all depends on how much do we talk, how much do we open up with each other, ask each other the right questions. if you've done that very fast, then no, you don't have to say, well, it's only been a month, so let's not move forward. Nah, we've talked about everything. What else is there for us to discover to determine that we can or can't move forward right now? Okay. So it's about that first and foremost. What was the other half of that question?
The other half, well, you answered it, the time period, and what does the foundation look like?
Yeah, it's the foundation.
But you said it, the talking,
making sure we're on the same page. Do we share the same values? Do we want the same things? Discussing how we I think what people should be discussing is how do you handle if this comes up? Let's throw random scenarios at each other and see how do we handle that. So we know people swear that everyone's lying. People aren't that great at lying. Right. If you ask enough questions, the truth will come out. Get someone speaking long enough, they can't lie forever. It doesn't work that way. So you got to keep talking, got to keep asking, and keep digging deeper with each other. And you got to be willing to be transparent. Because if you want them to be transparent with you, you can't be holding back and telling lies. It's not going to work that way.
Okay. So, Josh.
Yes.
So I was just explaining to Stephan that in today's dating climate, where now we were talking about the dating in Atlanta and just how do you know when it's time to progress the relationship to the next level, and at what point do you cut a person off? And we kind of touched on that in our video last week, and I was explaining to him that nowadays, as a woman, you never want to be too pushy. You don't want to be looked upon as being desperate or, thirsty or, or like when you're progressing the relationship to the next level, and as a woman, you don't want to be the one to initiate that. So he said that we as women have a say in that. What's your take on that whole thing?
I mean, I agree with him. I just feel that a lot of times people should do what they feel is in their heart. And to be honest, if the man feels that you're being pushy, then maybe you need to think about the guy that you're investing in, because it should be open. Both parties should be able to be open and transparent with each other without anyone feeling some type of way about that. Especially if you're trying to build and you're trying to go somewhere in your relationship. And I thought he made a very valid point just about how there is no timetable on when people connect or how they connect. If they're plugging every day and they're putting their time in every day, a lot of people will go closer a lot quicker. If some people are a little bit slow in their process, then that's going to happen as far as how they connect moving forward. So I thought that was a really strong point, that he made as far as that goes. And I just think that, people should, lock in, do what you feel you need to do in order to get to where you want to go to, and not be so concerned about the timetable.
You said people go at their own pace, but do you think that we should use that as a level of engagement, like as to whether that person is even interested? So typically when you meet someone and you guys are communicating and getting to know each other, then the communication may not be, what, like, the communication ain't what it's supposed to be. So, do you use that as what I'm trying to say is, do you use that as a level, do you determine their level of engagement based on the lack of communication?
Not initially. So, all right, if they're not communicating well or communicating enough initially, first you have to address the issue. Okay. You don't cut people off initially for what they did wrong. They don't know what they did wrong. They don't know what your required level of communication is. We have this habit of thinking, well, they should know better. How don't they understand? Nah, they may have been raised differently. They may have had different types of relationships. Now, once you make it known to them that communication is unacceptable, this doesn't work, we need to do better. Right. And now they don't correct it. Right. Yes, you can use that as a way to evaluate they're not that interested.
Right, their level of
interest.
Serious, that's what I'm asking.
Or she's serious, they will at least show some improvement. Right. At the very least.
Right. So do you think that a lack of communication is a way of pacing it? Do you think that people use it as a pacer to say,
hell yeah. As in, like, I'm not gonna call you too much to kind of slow this down.
Yeah, because I want to slow things down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or like, we're gonna talk today, but we're gonna text tomorrow.
Gotta keep her on the fence. Like, if you're talking all the time, that's gonna raise the expectations of the situation. So if a dude or a woman is trying to play it smooth and trying to give themselves some space and some time, then absolutely they're gonna slow down the communication, spread it out some more. It makes perfect sense. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that yes,
But
it happens. And
but I'm
it makes
saying too,
perfect
don't
sense,
you
you know what I'm saying?
don't you
But-
think that they
Right,
should
right.
don't
So,
you think
well-
that they should communicate that though?
Okay. So you did say that that's a way of creating boundaries. So what's your take on that, sir?
No, I was just asking him. I was like, you know, I understand that people do that, but wouldn't it make life much easier if people would just say that instead of doing that? Because then the woman may feel the man is playing games, or the man may feel the woman is playing games, and then there's a whole bunch of miscommunication about how they're trying to connect and build. I just feel like, in my opinion, if somebody wants to take it slow, then speak your reasons as to why you want to take it slow, and make sure that you're explaining, hey, I just got out of a situation, you know, I'm a little hurt from it, or, you know, I'm having trust issues. Maybe that's the reason why I want to take it slow. I'm not sure. This feels good, but it's moving too fast. Can we slow it down? Like, just by expressing where they're at, that helps, you know, get rid of a lot of the other things that, you know, miscommunication can cause, that leads people to go astray instead of continuing
Right.
to build together.
So which feed is this right here? Which one is this one?
This one is your relationship
Guys, if you can't hear us, log on to Relationship Status Live Instagram page. Go to Relationship Status Live Instagram page if you cannot hear, because that's really where we will be streaming at some point. We're just trying to build the following. We're trying to get you guys used to listening to us. So go to, I'm
That's
sorry.
where they are. That's
Yeah,
where
okay,
they are.
so the people who are not on Relationship Status Live on Instagram, go there, because that's where we have everybody on the same feed. Right. So, okay, so you said, why not just say that? So for the men, you know, rather than trying to throw those signals, or trying to, some people are scared to communicate. That's just what it is. They don't know how to say, okay, this is what it is, this is what it's not. You know, you don't have to do that. You can just speak up and say, hey, I want to slow it down. Or you can even say, hey, I'm not interested, rather than ghosting or setting these sound boundaries. So, okay, so at what point, so we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but at what point okay, you can't hear on relationship status?
You can't hear you. Yeah.
They can't hear Josh on relationship status.
Yeah, they can hear Josh. We need
Josh,
Yeah.
do a testing. Say something.
Do what?
Okay, can you guys hear him now?
All the people on the top can hear is what's coming through the mic. When that plug is plugged into where Josh is, they can hear.
Okay, so we're gonna have to work that out the next time.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, just do the best
You
you
know they can't hear you.
Okay,
They
okay,
didn't hear you.
okay. We sorry, but we gotta continue. We gotta move. Oh, she said she can hear now. Okay, good. So at what point do you decide to cut someone off, or decide, you know what, this relationship isn't growing, it's not moving to the next level? At what point do you decide that?
After you let them know what the issue is.
Okay.
After you sat down, you discussed it, you laid everything out. If they make excuses, if they deflect, or they simply aren't willing to make any improvements or compromises, it's time to go. There's no point in continuing after that.
So I have a question for you. In that space where, they deflect, or, it's not going the way in which you want it, are they dating other people?
Not necessarily.
Is that okay? No, is it okay? It's okay.
If there is no official relationship between you and that person, then yeah, it's okay to date other people.
Okay.
They're free to do whatever they want.
Now here it is. Now here it is.
Listen,
Foolishness.
hey, if it's not official and you guys have not agreed to be exclusive with each other,
Okay.
and I don't even like the whole exclusive dating thing. I think
Okay.
that's pure BS.
Okay, so what?
Because if we're going to exclusive date, we might as well be in an official relationship.
I agree with you.
All right. So,
Yeah.
but if we're not
Right.
in an official relationship, you
Mhm.
can't get mad they dating somebody else.
Okay, so let's put a pin in. So, okay, you can't get mad, but how do you keep your emotions in check? Because as this relationship is progressing to the next level, you're developing a certain level of emotional attachment to that person, right? You're feeling them more. And I want you to answer. So how do you keep these things in check, and how do you make sure that the two of you, because there may be other people that they're dating because it's not exclusive, you know, how do you make sure you guys are on the same page? Because one of my fears, and I'm a proponent of, I believe in dating, but not dating exclusively. But I have to tell you, as personally, I struggle with it because as the relationship is growing progressively, you know, you begin to have these emotions, and then you're like, I wonder what he's doing with her. I wonder if he's talking to her. I wonder what's going on over there. Is he paying me attention? Is he into her? Who he gonna pick? Am I competing with her? So these are the things that go on through our heads as women. We think I'm giving y'all the inside scoop. So I'm saying, like, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that? Josh, you go first, and then I want you to go.
I think, and I've always said this across the board, don't block your blessings by comparing yourself to another human being or individual in the situation. Only focus on you. Do what you're supposed to do. And at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out that way, then you have to live with that. I mean, I just, if I'm with a young lady and I have to sit up there constantly questioning myself on what she's doing, where she's at, what's it like when she's with some, like, I don't even want to do all that. I just want to focus on my efforts and what I'm doing, because when I start focusing on that, it takes attention away from the positive that I could be given or how I'm pouring into her or into what we're trying to build. I don't ever want to compare myself to anybody else, because another thing is too, I feel very confident in what I bring to the table. So therefore, I'm never going to be worried about another individual and how they rocking or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like if I'm continuing to show up, then she will be more engaged because of how I'm pouring into her, and she'll be able to give that same thing back to me.
So I have a question before I let you respond. So you said you're not worried about what that person's doing. So is she actually dating other people? Because, you know, y'all one-sided, right? Y'all one-sided now. Y'all one-sided.
I'm not. Look, I answered the question as such. No.
Y'all know now. You know, y'all trying to put limitations on women, but y'all get to do what y'all want to do.
Me personally, it's no limitations, because, as my king said, unless you're dating, and was dating exclusively, like I said, you might as well just say y'all in a relationship. So until that has been announced, then you can't be mad if she's engaged in talking to other people or doing whatever. Me personally.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you answer this question. I'm gonna put this out here. How can you build with an individual if you're dating multiple people? Because I personally cannot split my attention. It's very difficult. So for me personally, I mean, I'm so busy. Like, how can you even give your attention to more than one person and be fully present? How can you do that?
Well, that's an individual thing. Like, some people can multitask and can date multiple people and still be able to really get to know each one. Okay. Some people are like you. They can only focus on one individual. But I'm on the same page with Josh. I think, listen, when you're very confident about what you bring to the table, you ain't worried about nobody else. Right. I'm here to figure out if we work together. Whatever you want to do with anybody else, do your thing, because we not official. Don't get mad at me. I'm not going to get mad at you. All right? And even if I'm choosing not to do anything with anybody, if you still want to, that's your choice. Right. You know what I'm saying? I just believe you got to respect the parameters we set on the situation. So if we say, yo, we're just getting to know each other, they have a right to do what they want. Now, as far as being concerned with who they may be talking to and all that, again, I think part of that is you being confident in yourself first and foremost. And the more confident you are in yourself, the less you're worried about other people and what they might be doing. Two, if other people got your attention for a good minute, then you probably just not that into me. So why are we even doing this? Right. You know what I'm saying? At that point, it doesn't get better.
Say that again, sir?
No, I was agreeing with him. I said what he said.
Yeah. So it's like, again, I guess I'm not worried. I guess I don't worry about it, because what's going to happen is what's going to happen. Either they're going to see that we have something or we don't. But I do believe that when two people have a genuine connection, they're going to naturally gravitate to each other and start dropping other people. Right. So if that's not happening, like I said, then I think it's just not there. And sometimes people are trying to hold on to a situation with no connection, hoping to be picked. For what?
Okay, right, and I agree with you. You typically can feel if somebody is not into you. You can kind of sense that without having a conversation. But do you have that conversation? Do you ask? Like, is it okay me? Because this typically happens more so to women than it does to men. So as a woman, I'm just being real. Look.
I think that's a partial assumption, but go ahead.
I'm just like, is it okay? Are we gonna be looked upon as being like, overbearing or overwhelming if we want to know what's going on the other side?
Listen, it's not in you wanting to know.
That.
It's not in you wanting to know. It's how you ask the question.
Okay.
Your energy is telling me whether you're desperate, low self-esteem, worried about the wrong thing. That's what's bothering the dude, not the question.
Okay.
Because two confident people having a straightforward conversation about what we aren't doing, ain't worried about the questions. It's like it's all good because we understand we can have that discussion. Also, how are you going to react to that information? If you're telling him, tell me the truth, you see other people, and the minute he says, well, yeah, and then you start going in on him, he ain't going to tell you the truth no more.
Right, but it doesn't have to be so ladies, it doesn't have to be a confrontational conversation. I believe in just asking straight up. I'm a straight up type of girl. However, a lot of times some men, they break out that low self-esteem or that,
No.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
I'm going to stop you right there. All right. You are in control of your energy.
No.
You are in control of your emotions. Yes, people can do things that can trigger or contribute.
Yes.
But you still have the ability to decide how you're going to react.
Absolutely.
So you can't just say, well, they made me this way.
Well,
no.
They made you, but no, that's on you. But no, not that they made you, but like you can tell when someone is pulling away. Right? So you can tell when someone is pulling away. And so if you have developed a certain level of emotional attachment, right, and that person is pulling away, then you may see some of that low self-esteem or, however you categorize it, you may see it. And I know that I'm not the only one who feels like that. Where my ladies at?
Here's another thing to go with what Stephan said. Like, I think at the end of the day, too, we got to understand that it's not personal, right? Yeah. We got to understand that we're still human beings. We have emotions. Things are going to happen. So it's not personal. And I understand what he's saying, like as far as how sometimes questions are asked, but us as kings, us as leaders, we should still be able to take control of a situation and making sure that there's respect that's involved and not letting it get to a point because we're having a conversation, right? If we're respecting a woman's emotions, feelings, whatever, then we should be able to want that same thing in return. So therefore, I can't be mad if a woman want to ask me whatever she want to ask me, however she wants to ask me, because I have to understand, okay, she's feeling a way about something. Let me put myself in her shoes. Let me also make sure that I don't respond in a way that she'll take it personal. Let me make sure that I'm open. Let me make sure that I'm receptive to what she's saying. Therefore, I can get her answers to her questions. And vice versa, it needs to be that same respect across the board. Too many times, because emotions get involved, we're not able to discuss certain things, which then allows for the shutdown to happen. And a lot of people don't know how to recover from when their feelings are hurt or when they feeling some type of way about something. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to get to a point where we're addressing each other respectfully and being open to hearing what the other person has to say. And it's not just in relationships, it's friendships, it's at work, it's across the board. Like, that's one skill set that we all could do better at in growing together. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Now, you men are rare, and you will hear me say that often, because it's definitely not a lot of you guys out there. But I do have a question, like, when you feel like the connection is waning, right? It's not going in a particular direction. Do you step up and communicate that, or do you kind of pull away gradually before she initiates the conversation and say, okay, I feel like, this is what's happening? Or do like, at what point do you communicate that? And I think that goes back to the question, at what point do you cut a person off? Because a lot of times you know what you're feeling. You know if it's not working out or you're not feeling this person. So do you say, hey, you don't want to waste a person's time. I wouldn't want to waste I'm one of those type of people. I'll tell you up front. Like I don't waste people's time. I don't go out on free dates. I don't do that. But as men, do you do that, or do you wait until it's already some damage there?
No, I mean, listen, I believe that the minute something bothers you, talk about it. Like, don't sit there and try to calculate when I should. Just talk about it. Again, if you create an environment where you guys can have healthy conversations, then it won't be a problem.
But you know how difficult that is.
It's difficult because, one, you're dealing with the wrong person.
There's a lot of
Facts.
wrong people out here.
Yes, there are
Facts.
a lot of wrong people. Yes. And you got to recognize that, learn how to recognize that quickly and get rid of them when you see they're not for you. Number two, it's a problem because you're not establishing it early in the relationship. People want to bite their tongue and not say how they feel for the first 2, 3, 4 months, whatever.
That's true.
And then be mad that they can't have good conversation after that.
That's
You
right.
set the table. For all you
Facts.
know, that dude is with you because he's thinking, she don't give me no problems. She don't bring nothing up. We good. Now, all of a sudden, you want to be talking about this, that. He's like, what the hell is this? I didn't sign up for this. I don't want this.
Right.
And now when he leaves, you confused. But it's because you got to establish what you want and how you want it from the beginning.
Absolutely agree.
And then let them see, because if he doesn't like that, or he can't communicate with you and vice versa, then they will show that issue early on, and then it'll be very clear to you, this can't work, this can't move forward.
Right. So for the ladies, just go ahead.
No, I was just gonna back his point, and not only with communication. I think it's another thing that's a part of that too is understanding both parties are flawed, and also another point would be, if you feel like it's worth it, then you will by any means do whatever's necessary in order to build with that person. That takes a lot of patience and understanding. But again, if you feel like it's worth your time and you can kind of see that there's potential in the situation, even when a person is not acting how you feel they should act, then you still got to be present. You still got to show up every day. I think that people are looking for perfect situations and not understanding that everybody has a history. Everybody comes from a certain way of living, certain things that they've learned, been hurt. The list goes on and on. I've always said, for me, I don't want perfection, right? And I think, as he was saying, that a lot of times people have, they make these assumptions, and then they have an expectation, but they're not willing to do the work that's involved in order to get themselves to a point. I want to be able to be with somebody that I know is going to be loyal, that's going to be down, that's going to be with me through good, through bad, through whatever. Those are the types of relationships that I want to be involved in. I don't want people who are fair weather, who are just with me at the time because it's a good look, or the list go, the many reasons go on and on and on. I want somebody who's going to be down. Be open, be honest, and that's one way that we can build together and moving forward together.
Right, that's good. Now, I have to ask the question.
Before you ask this
Okay.
question, let me throw something in.
Okay.
Because I caught somebody on the live
What
who
is it?
said it's easy to say just talk to them, but most men don't communicate. Let me make something clear. Most men who ain't serious about you don't communicate. Listen, if you can't get that man to talk, he's probably not really emotionally invested in that situation. Plain and simple. Now, I'm not saying there aren't dudes who genuinely have a struggle with communication, But if he's really into a woman, he's willing to try. He's willing to work through some of these things. But if he's not, if every time you bring something up to him, he doesn't want to hear it, he's not serious about you. So let's start understanding that declining to communicate constantly is a clear sign of someone who's not serious. Stop. And I've seen people say, oh, he never wants to talk. But you've been with him for 3-4 years. At what point you're going to realize this doesn't work for you? Something happened with the ladder.
Hey, let me ask you a question, Stephan.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna play devil's advocate with it because I do agree with what you're saying. I do feel like in a lot of instances, you know, maybe on the man's behalf that he's not serious or he's just not in that space. But what if there are some people who just genuinely don't know what to do or how to move? So what do you feel a woman could do in a situation in helping, and this is for you too, Chanel, in helping, if you feel like the man is worth it, right? He may come from a background that he hasn't seen a man show emotion or a man being able to communicate or whatever the case may be. And I'm sure you're understanding what I'm asking. So for the viewers, what is the next step that we could do in order to help that process in trying to be patient with somebody, but at the same time trying to get them to open up and help them grow in areas in which they haven't had to before?
So to the woman, I would say, if you want him to open up and communicate, you have to be very transparent. A lot of women are looking to pull things out of that man, and she's not being very vulnerable. She's not being open. You got to set the example. It's the same thing with a man. If you're a man and you're doing it with a woman who struggles to communicate, set the example that you want by doing it. You know, walk it out yourself. You also have to make sure that you show a person that you can handle their answers. Meaning, if they say something you don't like, you can't jump down their throat. You can't lash out. You can't have a negative attitude while they're talking and not listen to understand them. Because people will listen to rebuttal and not understand. So you got to really tighten up your communication skills. And when you do that, that will help the person. But I do think that at some point, if that other individual continues to not want to make an effort. See, it's one thing to struggle. It's nothing to not want to make an effort. If they don't even want to make an effort, you can't help them by staying in the relationship. Because it's almost like if your job says you got to come here 40 hours a week, and this person is choosing to only show up 30 hours, but you keep paying them a full paycheck, they're never going to tighten up. They still getting the full paycheck. There's not an incentive to get their act together. When that job says, listen, we letting you go. Now, when you get yourself together and you're going to work on 40 hours, you are welcome to come back. Right. Now, if they really want it, watch how fast they at least make an effort to try to correct it. So that's my whole thing. There's got to be an effort, you know, but definitely you have to set the standard. You have to make sure your communication is on point if you want them to communicate as well.
I absolutely agree with you. I would say a friend of mine, my girlfriend, the other day we were having this conversation. She was like, I learned so much from you because I ask questions. I ask exactly what I want to know. I may not, there are times where I might hold back. You know, you don't want to be too pushy because I can ask some questions, you know, but I do get to the point where I ask questions. I don't hold back because I used to be that female that would pretend like, oh, she's cool. She don't have no problem with that, you know, this, that, and the other, and that doesn't get you anywhere. So I say, if you want to know something, ask. You know, as difficult as it might feel or be. And like you said, if they are interested, then they'll put forth the effort to answer the question or at least be open to hearing what you have to say. If they're not interested, then they're not going to want to hear it. You know, they're going to shut it down. So that's my feedback to that question.
It is.
It says, at what point as a man do you give a woman the true word with a second chance when the feelings and connection are still there?
So at what point as a man do you give a woman a second chance when the feelings and connection are still there? So the first question is, what messed up the first time that there needs to be a second chance? Like, how did we get here? Because that's the main thing. I don't believe in second chances just for second chances. I believe in second chances if the issue has been corrected.
That's right.
So if we broke up because we didn't communicate well, all right, have we fixed this? Have we made improvements? If we have, all right, let's make it happen. If not, no. I also don't believe in this whole once they in X, they gotta stay in X. I think that's pure BS. People, sometimes it's the right person, wrong time.
Right.
And people need to mature, and they need to grow, and they need to find themselves. And if that has occurred, then again, I'm all for getting back together. But if everything is the same as it was before, what the hell are you giving a second chance for? That doesn't make any sense. You gotta click that thing again.
Okay. All right. What's the next question?
Do you think relationships in our generation are harder now because we're in an independent time?
All right, so our relationship's harder now because we're in an independent time. Hell yes. Absolutely, without a doubt. Everybody want to be independent this, independent that. A relationship needs interdependence to thrive. Independence kills relationships, all relationships. You know what? John's in his profession. If those guys in the team all want to act individually, the team ain't going nowhere. They have to work together. They have to rely on each other. You got to trust your teammates. You got to trust your partners. So without interdependence, without relying upon each other, we will destroy any unit of two or more people, period. So I do think that the independent time, but if we're going to be honest, if we're going to keep it all the way real, that independence is stronger on the woman's side right now at the moment. It's on the rise at the very least. Don't shake your head. Don't act like don't act like it's not. All right. We know damn well that there's a whole lot of independent women this, independent women that, and it is built out of fear. It is built out of a lack of trust of men, a hatred of men. There's a lot of unhealthy reasons, and people try to make it seem like it's for this wonderful, great thing to empower the woman. But again, she can do all that stuff independently, but if she doesn't know how to be interdependent in a relationship, she ain't gonna have no relationship.
I agree with that.
You have to learn how to balance those things out. You can have the skill of independence. Everybody should learn how to stand on their own 2 feet.
Absolutely.
But you have to be able to embrace interdependence if you want to have a successful relationship.
Did you have any feedback on that, sir?
I think to add to it, I think settling is another cause.
Yeah.
For why things don't work out the way that they should, because again, people don't value themselves enough. They don't value what they bring to the table. In other instances, they're racing against the clock. They feel like they're in a space. They go for whatever's there, quick, fast. Like, we have to get to a point, man, whatever your personal needs are, whatever the things that you're looking for in a relationship, in an individual, how can you bring that together collectively? People have to be willing to remain working on themselves until they find the person that fits the piece of the puzzle that they're looking for. Like, we have to stop settling across the board. And it's frustrating with me, because I have conversations just in general. It doesn't necessarily have to be relationally, but just in general in life, what we're doing to ourselves because of how we're settling and things like that. I just really wish that people would go for what they want, strive for it, and if they fail, cool, pick yourself back up, get out there and get after it again. But constantly grow, constantly build, constantly work on yourself. That's another way in order to get that type of energy for what you're looking for and bring that to you, because a lot of times we're not ready. We're not in a position to be open to liking, loving, or being with an individual. we're not where we need to be. And therefore, we need to continue to grow and do the things that we need to do to get to that point. You know, the law of attraction is real. It's very real. And how you live, how you speak, how you move, all of those things make a difference. And especially moving forward and what you're trying to get in life, in a partner, whatever.
So let me ask you this. How do you differentiate between settling and maybe, because a particular situation may not necessarily be going the way that you would like it, but you may actually like the person, but you may have to be a little bit more patient and kind of, you know, so how do you differentiate between, is it settling or I'm, like you said, relationships aren't perfect. People aren't perfect. We're socialized differently. You know, we come from various backgrounds. So how do you differentiate between that?
So, one, Josh was completely on point as far as settling being a huge issue and a huge destroyer of relationships right now. As far as knowing when you're settling and you're not, I believe that everyone knows. They know damn well when they settle. They know when they felt like, you know what, this is the best option right now. I'm just ready to settle down. I'm just gonna do it. Or this, I'm just tired of dating. Or this person been by my side long enough. People will rationalize reasons to be with that person. So that's number one.
Okay.
Think about that. When you settle, you always gotta rationalize. You always gotta convince yourself reasons why this makes sense. When it's really there with someone, you ain't gotta convince yourself nothing. It's just there. You want it. You know you want to be with them. There's a draw to them. There's something more powerful. People know.
But it can still be settling if they are not necessarily giving you everything that you want. Is that settling? You can have all of that, but you're like, you know what, I want more.
Okay, number one, I don't believe that you have a genuine, deep connection with someone and you're not getting all that you want and need from that person. But let's just entertain the possibility of this scenario. All right?
That's entertainment.
If you are sacrificing something that is truly important to you, then you are settling. Mm-hmm. So, for example, I would love a woman who knows how to cook, but I buy meal prep. So I really don't care if she knows how to cook. So me sacrificing the cooking, that's not settling. It's not a big deal to me. On the flip side, I need a positive woman. So you can be amazing in all kinds of other ways, but if you're not positive, and I still be with you, I'm settling. Because that's something I need. That's important to me. You know what I'm saying? So it's about what's really important. What's really a deal breaker. Like this whole 80-20 rule. I don't like this whole 80-20 rule. It's only cool if the 20% you sacrificing aren't big issues, aren't things that you really need in that relationship. But if even one thing is what you need, problem, because let me tell you something. If you give up what you need to be with them, you're going to cheat on them. And if you don't cheat on them, they're going to cheat on you. Somebody going to cheat. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. Because there is an immediate void that has been created. And now, once someone comes along at some point in your life who fills that void, problems. Every single time.
Right.
No,
What's all you say, Josh?
No, I mean that's real. I think a part of what we've been discussing is just put out there what it is that you need and what you're looking for. Whatever that could be. It could be one thing, it could be 10 things, but don't be ashamed to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like we have to get to a point, man, where we acknowledge who we are. We acknowledge what we want. We acknowledge how we need certain things, because that's the only way we're going to continue to grow and spread love and keep pushing that throughout. Like, it's not about perfection. It's not all of these things and saying, well, I don't want to feel like I'm pressuring her. I don't want to do like I don't know why we have this mentality or this attitude when we need to put that out there, because if we don't do it now, that's when the regrets come in later. And he already spoke of people cheating or going elsewhere in order to get the things that they want or that they're looking for, when you could have just solved that from the beginning by putting that out there from the jump. And the other part of it too, especially when you're talking about people that go astray, like we also have to get to a point of understanding, man, that there are so many ways to be dishonest and unfaithful to a person. It's not just a physical thing. So therefore, that's why I'm saying we need to put everything out there that we need, whatever it is that you need, whether it's mental, emotional, spiritual, whatever it is that you need, please communicate that across the board. Make sure that you're clear. Don't feel bad about that. Go ahead, King. What you got, King?
He said sexual. He said
Sexual, physical, all of that, financial, the whole piece.
okay.
We need you gotta have all across the board, man. If not, again, that's what we're saying, then it'll be settling. It'll be settling. Point blank, period. At no other time do people settle, right? When you go back and you look at certain things, man, people get their checks. They know damn well they didn't need to go get that bag. They going to get that bag. They know damn well they don't need to get that type of car. They going to do what they want to do. So why not be that way in your friendships? Why not be that way in your relationships with a partner? Be clear across the board in what you want. That alleviates all the other BS and things that's going on. Like, nobody wants to be a part of drama, negativity, or any of that type of stuff, because that energy wears on you, especially when you know you're not living right, when you know you're not with a person that you should be with, when you know things ain't going the way that they should go. It's not a good feeling across the board to wake up second guessing yourself, going to sleep second guessing yourself. It's just not a good feeling across the board. It's one of the worst things. And me and you had this talk a week ago, and I was telling you, I would rather be alone. I could do better by my damn self versus being in a relationship with somebody and that shit is empty.
Right.
Knowing that you're in a house with somebody, waking up to that person and feeling empty, going to sleep with that person and feeling empty, walking in that thing, giving the hey, the BS, I love you and all that, that's empty. That's the worst feeling in the world, in my opinion. Knowing that you don't get nothing from the person that you're deciding to be with. So if I'm going to do that, I'd rather be by my doggone self, and at least I know I'm going to love me. I know if I hug me, if I give this right here, I know it's genuine. I know that ain't gonna be no BS. I don't need nobody to give me no fake love. You feel me? I don't want none of that. So therefore, I'm not even gonna waste my time in being in something with somebody where I'm not able to build, grow, or get these other things that I'm looking for. I'm not in that point in life. I want more.
But let me ask you this: when you feel like you are not receiving something that you want in that particular relationship, do you have the conversation? Do you communicate about what it is that you're not getting, or that you're not receiving, or what need is not being met, or do you just automatically back away? Without having that conversation.
You're gonna be way more miserable. You might as well get it off your chest and make that person feel away versus keeping it to yourself. Because it gets nobody nowhere. A lot of people are with the other person for years at a time, and they have all of these other different reasons as to why they're staying in the relationship. And we got to cut that. That's total BS. If you with somebody, be with them for them. Don't be with them because they get money. Don't be with them because y'all got kids. Don't be with them for all of these BS reasons, because at the end of the day, that truth gonna always come out. Your kids are gonna get older. They gonna see that. Now you talking about generational things that you setting forth, because you got to be willing to break those cycles. And these, another thing that people don't understand, like who you choose to marry is a huge decision, and it affects every part of your life.
All right, so
I'm gonna connect him to this one because this is where a lot of people were.
We're working hard.
yeah. So what is your take on the settling aspect of what he was saying while we get this?
As far as Just selling in general.
So I'll ask my question to him. Okay, my question to him was essentially like, in my experience in the past, typically if a person wasn't getting what they needed, and I'm just assuming because we never had the conversation, you would feel that person pulling away or backing away, and the next thing you know, you're in this heated argument, and now it's over. Mm-hmm. So, how is it supposed to go? Because it's not going to always be perfect, but do you communicate that, or do you back away, not say anything?
Always communicate.
Okay.
Always say how you feel. Always address the issue. Because if you don't, then it's going to weigh on you that you never got to get things off. A lot of people don't have closure simply because they never got things off their chest. It's not always hearing them or getting questions answered by them. It's about speaking your truth, most importantly. And then that will help open the door to possibly getting more clarity on the situation or correcting the situation. So you got to always communicate. That has to happen.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good, because I'm going to tell you, between you and Josh, you do not meet men like you two. You do not. You comment.
Yeah, but you know what? Listen, here's the thing that women have to understand. A dude can be a complete a-hole to 10 women and then meet the one woman he really wants and become Prince Charming. All right? So the perception that there aren't good men or it's so rare, it's skewed. It's skewed because even good men act a fool when they're with the wrong one. Period. Because we're not perfect. Even me, I've done stupid stuff. I've done stuff I should have not done or handled it better. But you get caught up for selfish reasons. You get caught up due to lust and whatever other desires you may have as an individual, or just because you were bored, it was comfortable, it was easy, and that creates problems. So again, that woman will now tell everyone else, this dude was this dude was that. But in reality, he can be great for someone. The other problem is women only portray the situation as the man did wrong. Like, I did another podcast a few months ago, and I was like, listen, when a woman's in a relationship or dating, and let's say she's dating a good dude, but let's say it was really on her that the situation fell apart. She ain't running to her homegirl talking about, I messed up, I did wrong, I didn't do this. You may, but the majority are not. The majority are saying, him, he did this, he didn't do that. So now what does that do? It creates the perception that none of these men act right.
I agree.
But it's not true.
I agree.
There's a lot more guys than women realize who are good men, who are trying to do right, and who are getting played every day, getting hurt. But they're just not vocal about it. Exactly, they're not vocal about it. Because y'all wouldn't believe it anyway. Y'all would still swear you did something wrong.
Yeah. there is an expectation. I think the issue is like with the expectation that men are supposed to be hard. You're supposed to not show emotion. So then men take that, they perpetuate it, and then women perpetuate it in the relationships because it's like sometimes there are women who will call men weak for showing certain emotions, and that come along with that and everything else. And you really can't get through to a person if you have those like ego aspects in the way and like these kind of unrealistic gender roles being put on each other and unrealistic expectations through that. Listen.
Wow. So let's see. Any questions? Any comments? Let's go ahead and spend the last few minutes.
Somebody said, let me speak on that real quick. Somebody said, I became a bad guy when my girl told our friend there was nothing she could have done differently in her relationship, but I was keeping it, what does it say? Keeping it real. But, so I just want to touch on that because, like, a lot of us dudes have been there. A lot of us dudes know we try to give a woman the world. We try to be there for her, be a good dude, change her perception that all dudes are dogs. And she took advantage, or she didn't appreciate it, or she ran from the situation because of her own deeper issues. And then what happens is, as a dude, you turn savage. You're like, F the world. Because when you finally decide to give your heart to someone, they take a crap on it. And so now, yes, a lot of men, because we're not taught how to properly deal with those rejections or process those emotions, we just rebel. We rebel. You know what I'm saying? But again, like I tell women all the time, men don't come out the womb pimping. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't come out the womb ready to play women. That stuff, it's something triggers that, or it's taught. It's either taught by other broken men who've been hurt and played, or it's triggered because that man got hurt and played. Outside of that, when that dude finds a woman that he's really into, he is prepared to do what she needs for him. But again, if he's truly into her.
See, and that's so rare.
No, it's
Yes, it is. I'm sorry.
no, it's not
It's
so
so
rare.
rare.
It feels rare because women being on more of the receiving end, it's like, okay, if a woman deals with 10 dudes, all 10 of them might be the wrong dude for you. So now when you get all of them not acting right, you build this perception that all men are like this. But no, you were dealing with 10 wrong ones. That's why. And you got to learn not to get caught up in these situations. And this is men and women, the longer you stay in these BS situations, the more damaged you become, and the less ready you are to embrace the person who is right. And that's what happens. So then when the good dude does come along to that woman, after she's already been hurt how many times, she doesn't believe it. She's like, nah, this is too good to be true. This can't be right. He must have something going on. He's getting ready to play me.
Waiting for it to blow up.
Exactly. And then you self-sabotage the relationship yourself, or you run away from it. 10 wrong ones. That's 10 wrong ones. Ten wrong ones. That's why. And you got to learn not to get caught up in these situations. And this is men and women, the longer you stay in these BS situations, the more damaged you become, and the less ready you are to embrace the person who is right. And that's what happens. So then when the good dude does come along to that woman, after she's already been hurt how many times, she doesn't believe it. She's like, nah, this is too good to be true. This can't be right. He must have something going on. He's getting ready to play me.
Waiting for it to blow up.
Exactly. And then you self-sabotage the relationship yourself, or you run away from it. Mm-hmm. But that wasn't his fault. That's on you. That's on you. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be honest about that.
I don't know. We'll see. So I have a comment here. A guy told me I dated years ago. I changed him, and it wasn't for the best because I rejected him. I never knew he was so tough. I never knew he was so tough.
I'm not so sure where she's going with that part, but in the beginning about her changing him for the worse, that it's the same thing we just said. She didn't reciprocate the love he was trying to give her. And he took that rejection and balled it up, and it turned into rebellion against the world and against women in general.
And that's why it's so important to be upfront, male and female, not just the men, but the women as well. I think nowadays women, from my friends, I'm going out, not really attracted to them, but I'm going out to get a free meal. Don't do that.
You know, let me go something. I had a dude once say, and I thought it was a brilliant statement. He said the greatest struggle of a good man is to find a good woman who's not broken.
Wow.
That was the realest thing. Better than anything I've said.
That's good.
And that is the battle that good men
because
face.
Those 10 men that you just said, he was like, we get this perception because that's a lot of men. That's a lot, you know, and those experiences, they do change you. It changed your whole perspective. I know that, and I'm trying to reprogram my mind and, you know, receive what, like, be open to receiving, because I'm always like, okay, when it's going to change? When it's going to
Y'all better let Jesus take the wheel.
I ain't got to go crazy.
Projecting negativity.
Y'all better let Jesus take the
What?
I'm just saying.
What you say,
Reject it,
Josh?
it comes back.
I said, y'all better let Jesus take the wheel.
How do you let Jesus? No, that's real. How do you let Jesus take the wheel? Like we was letting Jesus take the wheel when we was going through those.
No, that's not true. That's not true. Let me call y'all out right now.
You gotta put your own
All right.
in.
Y'all, women are notorious for trusting God with health, money, education, whatever. When it comes to relationships, it's like, nah, God, I got this. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna do my own thing. Y'all don't truly. So let me put it to you like this. I coach people every day. I sit down and speak to divorced couples, divorced women. I ask them, how many of y'all prayed and asked God, should you have married this man? 90% will say no. They never even asked. The other 10% will say they asked, God told them no, and they still married the dude.
Because they didn't know when the next one was coming along.
Oh, well, okay, then whose fault is that? Jesus or yours? Like, don't blame Jesus. Don't blame God. They ain't got nothing to do with this. All right? They ain't got nothing to do with this. You made your own decisions. You didn't include him in the process of this selecting who to deal with.
Hard way. I absolutely agree with you. I'm saying this for the ladies. I've learned the hard way though. But guys, we gotta go ahead and wrap it up. Before we get done, I wanted Josh, Stephan, and myself to share your social media handle just so everybody, well, they know how to find you. So go ahead and share your information. You got half of the globe. Go ahead.
Oh, before y'all know Stephan Speaks, Stephan Speaks, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook.
Okay, and what projects do you have coming up real quick?
So the next book is Finding Love After Heartbreak, and it's going to lay out the healing process because that to me is the number one issue people are facing. They haven't healed. Mm-hmm. So all this dysfunction we've been talking about, all this brokenness, is because of a lack of healing. So the book is going to lay it all out once and for all. If you can't invest in a book to get your healing, I can't help you. There's nothing else I can do at that point.
Those books. I got them. Josh, go ahead and give your social media handles.
In God We Trust is my Instagram.
Josh, come on.
Josh21 Powell on Instagram, JP21 Reasons on Twitter, and we got relationship status. Go ahead, boss lady, help me out, because you got all the.
Well, I got you. So, guys, you can find me, Chanel Nicole Scott, on Instagram and Facebook, and on Twitter, Chanel and Scott. And you can find Relationship Status Live on Instagram, Facebook, and Josh and Chanel RS on Twitter. Until next Wednesday, guys, same place, same time, 9 p.m. We'll see you next week. Peace.